In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Welcome to another edition of Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man. I am your host, Brother Jackie Muhammad, and we have lined up for you tonight a wonderful show dealing with the prison initiative. Man, I have the honor and the distinct I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing some wonderful brothers. You know this brother here. He's an international brother. His passport has been double stamped over and stamped under. He's a well-traveled brother, well-spoken brother, born in the Nation of Islam, has some beautiful family, beautiful parents. And I'm proud to be his brother. I'd like to introduce to some and present to others, Brother Ahmed B.I. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam. Praise be to Allah. We thank you all for joining on the show with us tonight. My name is Brother Ahmed. I would like you all to relax, take time, and just sit back. We have a lot of information that we're trying to get across to our family and our viewers. Thank you all for joining on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Ahmed. And next we got a brother who is an Atlantean native. Beautiful brother, has a warm spirit, a warm heart. He's a brother's brother. And I'd like to introduce our brother and present to some Brother Kawi Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Thank you once again, family, for tuning in to another episode of the Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man. We have a wonderful show planned for you tonight. I hope you enjoy that. So let me get to some announcements before we move forward. If you are watching this show, I would like for you to please share this show. You go to YouTube, you pull up our show by Jock Brothers, JAKQBROTHER, Jock Brothers, and you select the bell. Now, I've been to New Jersey, I've been to Houston, I've been to Florida, and my family say I don't get your alerts anymore. Are you still on? And of course we are. And so I don't know why you're not getting the alerts. But if you can share the show and hit that bell will send you a direct signal every time the Jock Brothers come on. And so hitting that bell is vitally important, so you can keep updated with all our latest. Now, for those of you that have supported our show from the very beginning, we thank you. For those of you that have supported our show with donations, that support us financially, we thank you. You know, I can't be more sincere than that. Thank you for that. Now, as you know, the Jock Brothers we have been running an initiative for just over a year now. But we try to send the Final Call newspaper, which is really hands down the best newspaper. If you really look at the Final Call newspaper, pick it up and go through it, it's not a paper on the planet stronger than that gives you truth from cover to cover. It's not a paper stronger than that. And we're trying to put that paper, the baddest paper on the planet, behind the bars to our brothers and sisters all over this country. We asking that you join us in that effort. They send that paper behind bars to our family. It's $18 for 3 months. $18 for 3 months, $30 for 6 months, $60 for a year. But to have that paper circulating like that, I'm telling you, it's going to bring some peace and harmony to our brothers and sisters that's behind bars. So for those that has donated to that, we thank you for it. And if you want to donate, again, whether you're donating to the platform or donating to our prison initiative, we use that Cash App that's flowing at the bottom of the screen. It's Cash App, and that $ Jock Bros. Again, $ JAKQBROS. And of course, we don't, we're trying to get it to 1,000 of our family members behind bars. I don't know but a few. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know a couple of brothers locked up, but I don't know 1,000. So we asking our viewers to participate in us having a a wide range of people to send the newspaper to, and you can send that information to this account we have set up specifically for that information. Jock Brothers Viewers at gmail.com. And that's also at the bottom of the screen. So if you know somebody, give us their name, inmate number, location, maybe a phone number to the chaplain. But wherever you can give us to make it easier for us to get that paper to them, please provide that. Thank you again for viewing. That's my time. Back to you, Brother Jackie. You're on mute, Brother Jackie.
Okay, trying to hit me with garbage cans. All right, thank you, Brother Kawi. Thank you. All right, brothers and sisters, I would like to introduce our guests. We actually have two guests. I think one is experiencing some technical difficulties, and Brother Ahmed, being a technical man, he's behind the scenes taking care of business. So with no more from myself, I'd like to introduce a brother who hails from Montgomery, Alabama. My brother, he spent a little time behind bars. He accepted the teachings in 1991. He actually spent 27 years.
Wow.
He has traveled in different various camps, different correctional facilities, but established a Staten Correctional Facility as Mosque Marion. We definitely want to get into that. And helped countless brothers throughout the DOC. Released in 2017, married Sister Kelsey Muhammad, became a business owner, and blessed to be the student minister in Montgomery. So with more from myself, let's all clap to this wonderful journey of our brother, student minister Shakir Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam, brother.
Yes, sir.
All praise due to Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who intervened in our affairs in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi, and raised one among us, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the exalted Christ. And I thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for his accepting the mission to deliver our people. Let me greet you again, brothers, with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Let me first give honor and praise to this show, Jock Brothers, for doing a tremendous job in reaching our people in every sector of life and status and position. I want to thank the Honorable Louis Farrakhan for giving me the opportunity to serve and help in this arduous mission of the resurrection of our people. And I want to thank our regional student minister, Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad, for giving me an opportunity as well to help. So again, to the tremendous staff here who keep it pumping, thank you for having your brother just to say a few words.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you for accepting our invitation. You know,
no problem, dear brother.
Absolutely. I want to start, brother, until our other guests come on. I want to start, you know, in prison right now. Is it still rehabilitation? Prison is called rehabilitation, but is there rehabilitation actually going on in prison besides what we do? Outside of what we do? Yes, sir.
Well, I answer that question like this. Prison has never been rehabilitation.
Yes, sir.
As it is framed. If you do not find something to help facilitate your growth and development while incarcerated, then you will be arrested at the age that you came in when you leave. You know, because prison is a place where you can get caught up in, as they say, the prison groove, and whatever's going on, it'll stop you from maturing and growing into a man of responsibility or integrity and principle, and you'll just float around for however many years you do. You'll just float around inside the institution, from institution, just living as like tumbleweed. But fortunately, there is the Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam, in my humble opinion, is the only rehabilitative process that actually changed men's life. Now, I'm not saying that the church, the church's programs and other programs don't help. But when I say change life, I mean transform a man to have the desire to not go back to that world, because he has to start right at that point of acceptance and doing something different. Other things allow you to sometimes fake it till you make it. Yes, sometimes you can do this, don't worry about it. You can be saved at the end. But in the Nation of Islam, in the institutions, when you go through your processing and you accept, then it is what it is. There's no such thing as I'm gonna, burn the count on both ends. I'm gonna straddle the fence. No, it won't be none of that. You're gonna either be a Muslim or you can be back wherever you came from. But we had a brotherhood that was responsible for each brother to learn. If you didn't have a GED, it was mandatory that you get one, if you didn't have a high school diploma. If you did not have a trade, it was mandatory that you got a trade. In fact, we taught brothers how to dress, because we were preparing men not just for inside the institution, but on the outside of the institution. I learned how to tie a tie in prison because we taught brothers how to tie a straight tie. We didn't have the bow tie, but a straight tie. In fact, we made our own bow tie. We can talk about all these, some of these things, but to answer your question, and from my humble opinion, the Nation of Islam is the best rehabilitative process inside the institutions, because there's a lot going on.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned Prison Groove. What does that mean? Yeah.
The Prison Groove is just like in society, where the lost found is caught up in the web of drugs, alcohol, and just careless lifestyles.
Yes, sir.
The same thing goes on the inside of the belly of the beast. You have every drug that you have on the outside, inside. You have lifestyles on the inside just as on the outside. So you can easily get caught in that flow and not turn your life or, get your life straight, doing something different. You can easily get caught into that. So that's what I mean by the Prison Groove, the constant flow of, just like outside.
Yes, sir. Now you talked about how there's no development when we come in. Now they're trying us now as adults. Well, they've been trying us as adults, but our young men are being tried as adults. They're coming in at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, or whatever. They're coming in young, and
yes, sir.
So man, what would that experience look like? I mean, you watching these young brothers come in, brother, when you looking at them, man, are they not developing at all?
Go ahead. Sorry, brother.
No, go ahead.
What I'll say is, now you have to keep this in mind. It's different now than it was when I first came down. And I can only speak on when I first came down and what I saw leaving out. When I first came down, there was more respect and there was more of a big brother mindset of a lot of older brothers that were incarcerated. And if they saw a brother came down 14 or 18, 17, 16, then it was mandatory. They snatched him up and they would turn him over either to the Nation of Islam or to the church, but some place where he can be protected. And they would give him an option. You can go to school, you can do this, but we're not going to allow you to do that. And when I mean do that, drugs, homosexuality, stupidity.
Yes,
and they would shelter the brother. And if they turned him over to us, or pushed him our way, now this is what we used to do. We used to wait at the back gate. It's kind of like, when you see those old movies like the slave movies, when you see the chain coming in.
Yes, sir.
Well, what we used to do is we would watch the chain and we would target just what you just said. Young brothers who were young, coming in, and we would grab them and we would begin to walk with them around the institution when they going wherever they trying to get their bed or whatever. And when the people see them with us, then they fall back. Regardless if he's in the nation or not, they'll fall back. Now, the only problem he would have is if they see him with us and then he reject us. Now if you reject the brothers, then it's fair game. But they know when he with the brothers, don't mess with him. When he with the brothers, he good. But if you leave the brothers, then they may come and ask me, Brother Kill, he all right? He with us, bro. Okay. Praise be to Allah. But if they see you doing something contrary, their first thing they're gonna come and let us know, brother, son, he ain't real, dog. Y'all need to, he ain't real. Get him from around y'all. And we would probably have a counseling session with him, And if he decide he want to live outside of what we got going on, then hey, it is what it is. But when we see young brothers come in now, prison is just like society. There are so many drugs rampant in the institution, and so the prison has now become the crack house. Plus, in Alabama, they've discontinued all of the mental institutions. So they're sending not only criminals, but brothers and sisters who have mental problems into the Department of Correction. So it's a chaotic melting pot, and it's always, it's ready to explode. Plus, the majority of brothers coming in now are not brothers that can use these. They come from an era where use these. None. So when they come in, immediately they think that they have to grab a knife and, instead of arguing or talking it out, their first impulse is to stab. So murders are now on an all-time high. Plus, like I say, all the drugs, fentanyl and whatever is killing men at an all-time high. So it's crazy now, man.
Dang, yes, sir. Brother Kawhi. Oh, man, you muted.
I said, you got me. So I come into prison and you immediately come up to me and start talking to me about nation. The 16
no,
17.
If you came in the camp, see, the first thing I would do is I'll see where you from, and I'll see where you from based upon if you're a known person. Most time your homeboy is gonna gather around you. If you're unknown, then you're gonna be walking through kind of timid. So I'm gonna just watch and see, because it's gonna be somebody that may know you from the county jail. If you're coming from another camp, they may know you from there. So I kind of check the scene out to see, what type of time you're on. Okay. And if I don't see nobody dealing with you, then I say, okay, he by himself. But if I see your homeboy, then more than likely I know your OG. I'm your OG. So, if I know them, then I.
Now once I get
talk.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Now once I get if you speak to me and I'm talking to you, and I begin my journey in studying, how do you work on my mentality? Because now maybe I've never ventured into the religious side. I've never studied books. We've all seen Malcolm X movie and how he started to read books. And now I'm building up knowledge and awareness. How do you protect me from looking at the world differently with a balance? Excuse me, not differently, but balance. Because now I'm reading books and now I'm building myself up in my own knowledge, and I'm around the brothers in the facility. How do I balance my view on people outside of the facility?
Let me say this first. The first thing that we do is we become a friend with you. We your friend. We hang out. We do things together. We share life. We help you if you don't have anything. We become friends. And, whatever your family, most times your family is Christian. So we don't prescribe that you would down their belief or, tell them to throw the pork out of the refrigerator. But we deal with reality. Let's say you come in with 20 years, right? That's a reality. So if you tell me, man, I got 20 years. Okay, we look at the real. 20 years is what you're sentenced to. It's a possibility that you may do 20 years. Now you can determine and choose how do you want to live that 20 years, right? But in order to stay balanced with society, then you have to stay connected with society, i.e., you have to read, you have to investigate, you have to stay connected to your family who's out in society, you know, and you have to stay current with what's going on with not only inside the prison, but world events, national events, so on and so forth, you know. And you have to begin to read periodicals such as The Final Call, your newspaper from your city, wherever you're from. Get your parents to send you also a subscription to the newspaper where you're from, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Most time when you're young, you go through a developmental process from being a teenager to a man, and that has its other. There's other things you have to deal with in that, because a lot of brothers that have never had relationships before they came to prison. They've never had a job. They've never had any serious responsibility. So you have to deal with all of that, you know.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I see my brother Kenneth came on. We want to look.
Oh yeah. No,
yes,
we got to give him a proper introduction now. We got to give him a proper introduction. We want to also welcome our brother who was having technical difficulties, but we want to thank both brothers, man, for taking this call at a short notice. We had to run an audible, but praise be to Allah. These brothers here, nation born, so they move like FOI, so we made it happen. Praise be to Allah. So our next brother that we're bringing on is Brother Kenneth. Brother Kenneth Muhammad was born in Saginaw, Michigan. He attended Saginaw High School, received a bachelor's degree in business administration. He accepted the teachings while incarcerated in 2001 in Tennessee. In 2006, he became the Nation of Islam Prison Reform Ministry under Mars number 60. Brother Kenneth established 8 NOI study groups, 2 NOI libraries, which contain all the NOI books. NOI is Nation of Islam, for those who don't know. The study guides and over 300 DVDs. Brother Kenneth also organized conflict resolution committee, mentoring programs, gang transition protocols, GED study halls, and a 3-point program taken from the Millions More movement. Wow. Unity, education, and cultural awareness. Brother Kenneth taught weekly at the Nation of Islam services, which were recorded and distributed. He was released after serving over 25 years of his life in prison, but he reported immediately to the mosque. Praise be to Allah. We want to do that immediately, because you come out here and don't report in, brother, this world will swallow you. He has done a lot of work in the community, so we want to get into it. So, Jock Nation, put your hands together and welcome with me, Brother Kenneth Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, brother. All praise due to Allah.
I want to thank you for accepting our invitation as well. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in point number 5, he says, we want freedom for all Black men and women now under death sentence in innumerable prisons in the North as well as the South. We want freedom for our brothers and sisters. I started off by asking Brother Shakir, is there still, or is there rehabilitation in the prisons other than the Nation of Islam?
Well, first, I'd like to open up in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. I want to thank you all. I apologize, but you all know I've been trying to get on for the betterment of 25 minutes, and I'm finally here. I know my big brother Shakir laid a nice foundation. I didn't hear much, but I already know the type of brother that he is. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be on your podcast. In regards to rehabilitation inside of the Department of Corrections, I will speak particularly from my experience in the TDOC, but from a broader sense, because they all pretty much run the same way because they're offshoot and born out of the same system. In the Tennessee Department of Correction, after about 1993, the word rehabilitation was taken out of the mission statement. So they told you and let you see that emphatically that they had no interest in rehabilitating you. Now, if rehabilitation is taken out, and that's not the aim and purpose, then someone has to step in the gap. Other religious services and groups, they tend to come in and more or less pacify the brothers. They bring them gifts, they'll bring food or whatnot, but the real transformative work is only done by the Nation of Islam's Prison Reform Ministry. Because with that particular ministry, as Brother Shakir was laying out, what we all do, it's interesting that he's in Alabama, you got brothers in Georgia, brothers on the West Coast or wherever, but we all have the same methodology and we generally get the same results because the Nation of Islam Prison Reform Ministry that was started by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself and continuously under the leadership of the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan, he gave us our directive. Now, he said true prison reform starts with the enlightenment of who the inmate is in reality and not what he or she has become due to circumstances. He said true prison reform reconnects the soul to its creator, then began to provide those human needs. Then you see a change in attitude, which leads to a change in behavior. So what Brother Minister Shakir was talking about, once he assessed, and this is what we do, we generally assess the individual's needs. When a brother will come into the institution, Brother Jackie and Brother Ahmad, we'll find out what was his home life. You know, we'll know pretty much very quickly how much time he's doing. He's doing 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, because that will determine how he looks at his time. Oftentimes, guys come in, they try to find a coping mechanism to do in order to deal with the time. Some drink, some smoke, some lift weights, some play basketball, and they do this day in and day out, and they develop a certain routine. But by and far, after a few years, that particular routine, it burns out, and they need something more. So in the Nation of Islam's Prison Reform Ministry, the first thing we do is wake a brother up of who he is in reality. Yeah, you're not a dog, you're not a nigga, your name don't have a number attached to it. You are by nature of the righteous. And they'll be like, what? And then we'll drop their heavy lug on, brother, you are a God. Now they've been called a lot of things, brothers, and they pretty much can believe it real quick. But when you tell a black man that's going through the hell of the prison system that he's a God, you got to explain that to him.
That's right.
You know, you can't just leave that and then don't explain it. So what we do, as the brother said, we start providing those human needs. Food, clothing, shelter. We bring them up in knowledge. We start daily teaching them things that he did not know. And pretty soon, that which is in him, which is deposited by God himself, we are able to bring it out of him. And so when you say rehabilitate, you know, you first had to be habilitated in the first place. And this never happened with us here. And so once we awaken them and renew them by transforming their mind, transforming their thinking, then the natural evolution, you see a transformation in their attitude, their behavior, and the trajectory of their life goes up.
Praise be to Allah, man. That was a beautiful answer, brother. Definitely.
Go ahead,
you know, when I moved here to Atlanta, I began going into the jails here in Clayton County.
Yes, sir.
And they, then the chief of Clayton County, he was allowing us to come in, but then they started bringing him up on charges, which got us out of there. And then I went to to be allowed to come into the prisons in Georgia. I got certified. Minister Sharif, he was definitely happy. He was like, man, we didn't have anybody from Atlanta. And just when I was going in, they banned us out of the prison system in the whole state of Georgia. So they won't allow us in the whole state. So I got this ban just sitting there, and I wasn't able to use it. So I'm wondering, are you being fought against when you go back and do any type of work? Are they fighting you? Are they fighting you? What type of obstacles are we encountering? And this is both of y'all.
Right.
Either one of y'all can answer, or both of you can answer.
Go ahead, Brother Shakir. I'll come in behind you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. They are. They are fighting against it. In fact, they're fighting against every religious order that's trying to come in. And when I say fighting, I mean it like this. You usually could bring in a multitude of people with you, to give the appearance of there's a lot of support, which it is. Now you can only go in one person at a time, which now puts a lot of strain on an individual if he's trying to deal with multiple prisoners. You see, so yes, that's one way. And I'm certified to go into every institution in Alabama, but at every institution I got to go back through another recertification, so to speak, with that particular institution. Although I'm certified to go in all of them, I got to song and dance, and I got to argue with this one. So yes, they are, and they're in Alabama. They are in the process of constructing, I think, 4 new prisons, and so I believe, this is my personal opinion, but I believe what they are doing is getting the people that are incarcerated so drugged out that when the changes start taking place, then they will be like the Pied Piper, easily led into whatever new transition that they are about to come up with. Because if you drugged out, you high, then they don't even have any fight like they used. So yes, it is a fight.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Brother Kenneth?
Yes, sir. Brother Shakir, he hit the nail right on the head. In Tennessee, when I was first released, I was released July 2018. And immediately I continued in the prison reform ministry. And I was able to get in with special permission, the certified Nation of Islam prison reform minister, Brother Eric Muhammad, Muhammad's Mosque number 60. And those brothers were certified. Well, all of a sudden, all of the brothers' certification wasn't current, and they got knocked out of the system. Brother Eric's some kind of way was still able to go in, so I could go in as a guest. I went to about 3 or 4 facilities. Now, granted, when I accepted the teachings, I began to teach inside the institution as an inmate 4 to 6 days a week.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm out. I've done my time. I'm in good standing. I don't have any violations, all fines. Everything is taken care of. I have permission from my parole officer to engage in that kind of work. All the things that the policies say you need, which they, as Brother Shakir says, it's like jumping through hoops, and they continue to move the goalposts. Well, all of a sudden, I'm persona non grata. I can't get in, or they don't have the paperwork. I've literally have been in my vehicle driving to an institution and receive a phone call from the chaplain saying that the warden has made a decision that at this particular time, he's not going to allow me to come in. And then I said, well, for what reason? Well, the first reason is, well, it's because you're formerly incarcerated. Now, then I name off 3 formerly incarcerated organizations that are allowed to go in and out the facilities anytime they want to, and they keep dancing around. But what it is, brothers, and Brother Shakur can bear witness, they know the power of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of the honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan. And when we're not there, then something else is in our place. What's in our place right now, Brother Shakur said it, it is the drugs. They are allowing an obscene amount of drugs, particularly heroin laced with fentanyl, to come in to the institutions. And this is producing a zombie-like mentality in the brothers. And all of the strong study groups, as the brothers are moved around and they're locked away in solitary confinement, so that light is hidden away from the masses at the institutions. And so the masses are now just in the slop trough, taking the drugs, engaging in all kind of foolery. And so it's like the sheep are being led to the slaughter. And when a man is in that type of mind, when the word is allowed to come in, he's not going to be in any condition to really hear it. And so this is the fight that we have to continue to fight. And we have a track record in the Nation of Islam that whenever there's a fight, we show up and we show out.
Praise be to Allah. Brother Tawee, did you have something that you want to ask, brother?
Yes, sir. I most certainly want to stay on this course of conversation, but I did have a question that was more tailor-made from the beginning of the show. I want to still ask it. I know Brother Jackie's original question was, is there any rehab or just the only source of rehabilitation that's in the prison? And so my question to you is, do y'all remember who you were as a person prior to coming to prison? Do you know who you were? And if you remember who you were, what was it that you heard while you was young in prison? Was there a big difference between where you were and what you became? Or what was the approach that happened toward you that got you on the course of Islam while you was in prison?
Good question, Bobby.
Whoever want to go first. Let's start out with you, Brother Minister.
You pushed me back in the grave, brother. I thought I was looking nice tonight. All praise be to Allah. But brother, in all honesty, I think for me, I come up in the era of time where selling crack, and there was a brother who was on drugs, but he was an older brother, but he had a degree of knowledge with regards to the Nation of Islam, the teachings. And when he got high, he would always go in, and I was a young brother, but I liked what I heard, so I would give him drugs and let him just go off, I know it's cruel, but
yeah, we all did that, brother. Just go ahead, brother.
A seed was planted. Little did I know a seed was planted. And so when I became incarcerated, I met a brother when I went to prison. I'm gonna skip some things because it take too long. But I met a brother by the name of Frederick, and that brother, that was the first message to the black man that I received. Now you have to keep in mind I was a brother who was in the street, so I didn't have an education. So reading a book this thick, can you see that? Reading a book this thick was kind of a challenge for me.
You're right.
But the brother took his time, and we read the book and he talked to me. Long story short, I knew that I had to make a change in my life. I grew up with good principles and morals from my mother. And so, but I knew, man, that, the way I was going to either, remain in prison for the remainder of my life or kill somebody in prison. And I didn't want to have no more of this type of stuff on my life. So I knew I had to make a change. And from that point, when I began to study, now I'm not saying initially when I was studying, I was, automatic, the halo was on my head, because I still was fighting, and I still, because I had a quick fuse. So I was still doing, little things like that, man. But I stayed on the course, bro. And I say this, man, when a man know it's time for him to make a change, goddamn, he gonna change, man. And he's going to do whatever's necessary to facilitate that change.
That's right.
He's not gonna, and you're gonna ride with that. And again, you may have ups and downs, but you're gonna stay on that course. And I may not be the best, but I've been damn consistent. And that for that time, I can stand on that, brother.
Yes, sir.
I thank Allah for that.
Now, brother Shakur, I got you, brother Shakur, on that. All right, so I hear you, right? The brother took time with you. Now, when at the beginning of the show,
now keep in mind that you say this. I only was around this brother for about 3 weeks because I went to another institution. See, he dropped a strong seed. I went to another institution, and I had a so-called reputation coming from society. So when I went to this permanent institution, I saw a lot of my homeboys and friends. And so, they coming, man. Hey, homeboy, welcome to the club, blah, 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 blah. And I shunned them. Hey, bro, I'm in the Nation of Islam. I didn't know A from a bullfrog, but I told them I'm in the Nation of Islam. Oh, you were the Muslim. Let me show you where the Muslim brothers at. Because they had that type of respect for me. So when they took me where the brothers was, then that's what it was, man. I've been riding that horse since from that day to this.
Now, so now when y'all were cherry picking the brothers that I guess was coming on the chain, like you explained in the beginning, that when the new brothers come, it seemed like
yes, sir.
They had to make a instant decision from streets.
No.
Okay.
No, sir. They didn't have to make a instant decision, but we made an instant impact. Because and I'm telling you, man, to be honest with you, brother, you have a lot of brothers that's incarcerated, who's been incarcerated, that have a sick, perverted mind. And if you don't make a certain impression, then a little brother who is very innocent and don't know certain little rules in prison or how to do certain things, he could easily be led into the slaughter, man, and don't even know it. So you have to set a certain standard to let them know, even if he don't choose to come to the Nation of Islam, we still, be around him or go check on him and holler at him and allow him to be seen around us until he get his feet wet and he's comfortable with where he is. Otherwise, he can think his friends, he can think that the people he's dealing with from his hometown are cool, and they can lead him right into the slaughter, brother.
Yes, sir.
Man, well, it's work. It's work, brother. It's a lot of work in out here and in prison. Praise Allah.
Let me get that question from you too, brother Kenneth.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. That was a great answer. I remember. And you try to forget, but sometimes it's good to remember, where you were, and so you can appreciate, the present by looking at the past. By coming on late, I didn't get a chance to lay any track, but in 1993, I was charged, tried, and convicted, and given a life sentence. Now, as you heard, I had been to college, I wasn't trying to be no scholar. I was on a basketball scholarship. I was trying to be a ball player, but it ended up, since I was there, I graduated. So my life, in my mind, was supposed to be somewhere else, but yet here I am, a black man, made it up out of the streets, went to college, graduated, and I'm sitting in prison, and the judge just told me I got life plus 15 years. Now, that messed with your mind off the muscle. So you're trying to figure this thing out. You're fighting your case, but Allah had his hands on me right from the beginning, brothers. It was like the story of Jonah. You can run, but you can only run so long. And the God gonna trouble you until you comply with his decree.
Mm-hmm.
And so all this time I'm running, but I'm meeting Muslims in the law library. When I come in, sports is real big in prison, just like out here. So when you go to the rec yard, they trying to size you up. So everybody's, is assumed to be a tough guy until proven otherwise. So you got to hold your own, as Brother Shakur said. Now, there'd be some guys who act like they gorillas, but when they bring that chain bus and drop you off in the yard, the captain will say, general population to the right, protective custody to the left. And then you look to the left, you see guys who you thought was hardcore gangsters. They running the PC because it just got real. And so while you in there trying to figure it out, so I'm playing ball pretty much 24/7. And that's how I'm doing my time. That's my coping mechanism. I'm going to visit, going out to, sweetheart with my girlfriend on the weekend. But you can only do that so long. And I woke up one day, Brother Kwawi, I had the same problems in prison that I had on the street. And I was saying, even doing life, locked away from your family, I'm still the same Hall of Fame Negro I was yesterday. This didn't change me. Now, according to prison standards, I'm doing very well. I'm not going to sit here and say I had it hard, I was oppressed. It wasn't like that. But I wasn't happy. And Brother Shakur, he know what I'm about to say. You get up every morning, you put that uniform on, whatever character you are, whoever the persona you created, you got to relive that every day, true or otherwise. But when you're alone in that room, it's just you and yourself, you're miserable. I remember one time, I wasn't very religious, but I said, if it's a God, I said, if I don't wake up, I won't be mad at you, because I can't understand doing life and doing this over and over, the same thing every day.
Wow.
And then one day I see this brother, and it's funny, I've been on this yard for a while, and I've never seen this brother. The brother was tall, dark, disciplined. And I was saying, okay, this is a different kind of cat. And so he came in the area where I was working. It was about to be Ramadan. So he was in there trying to secure what the Muslims needed for that month. They had to get their pre-dawn meal. They wanted to have somewhere. You have to request these things in order to meet, to be able to read the Quran, make congregational salat. All of these things had to be approved by the institution. And the brother was handling this white man who didn't like black people, and he hated Muslims even more. And he said to me, he said, hey, that's the first Muslim in 30 years I'm going to be able to work. Make sure he get everything he wants. So I went and told the brother, and he said, come out to the service. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say he was the first nation brother that invited me out to a service, because he wasn't. The brothers, they fish now. But Fridays, now here it is, the Muslims were so strong in prison, man. They're strong. In Tennessee, Friday afternoon, which was Juma Friday, you didn't have to go to your work assignment because the Muslims had it where you can come to Juma. So Friday was like the premier day of going to the gym and playing ball. Everybody can be there on Fridays. So they would say, hey, you coming to Juma? I said, yeah, I'm going to come, but I know I'm going to be in the gym. Well, this particular Friday, I stumbled up in the chapel and I saw this brother, and he was spitting flames. Everything coming out of his mouth was against me. And I was saying to myself, this brother just set me up. But then I realized he didn't know me, Brother Shakur. He was just talking about a character that I was playing. And so he gave me something to read called Self-Improvement, the basis for community development. It was building the will. You know, the section where it talks about the impediments like pride, lust, anger, greed. So I'm studying this. I'm literally writing this stuff down because I was like, man, this is deep. And the brother like, man, if you're not going to read that stuff, just give it back. I said, oh, I'm reading it, brother. I'm just taking my time. So Ramadan was in December that year, Brother Shakur. Now, Allah knows best. Because if it had been in July, I wouldn't have been able to participate. But being the shortest month of the year, you know. And here it is. I started going to a few meetings. Hey, Secure, you know how the word hit the yard about something? Word on the
Yes,
yard,
sir.
they said, hey, man, Big Dub, he down there with the Muslims, man. I think he talks trying to be a Muslim. So the word out on the wire, I'm going down to the meetings, and a sense of peace and tranquility that I have never experienced in my life, brothers. You hear what I'm saying, Brother Jackie?
Yes, sir.
Even out in the free world, I never was at ease. Sometimes I share my story and I tell them I had to go to prison in order to learn how to be free.
Wow.
And after Ramadan, he said, do anyone want to accept and join and be a full-time member of the Nation of Islam? I stood up and I said, well, yeah. And I was excited, man. I wasn't having no more migraines. My mood had changed. I get on the phone, Secure, I call Ma Dukes, right? I say, hey, Mom, she said, you know, you sound a lot more at peace, you know, with your situation. I said, you know, I'm going to be a Muslim. So she said, well, you know how your mom is. If it's working for you, that's fine. But I didn't raise you like that, walking around with those turbans and those long robes on. I said, oh, no, ma'am, I'm not going to be that kind of Muslim. And then the phone went definitely silent. And then she screamed out, oh, Lord, you with Elijah Muhammad and them? No. She said, the white folks going to kill you up there, son. You're too militant. I said, well, they just going to have to get me. And from that moment to this is all it was. Now, Brother Kwawi, when we talk about rehabilitation now, I done been to college, but in my cell, I didn't have no books. I had a radio, I had plenty of music, I didn't have no books. I began to study the teachings 16 hours a day, because I heard the minister say it. We would go through, and whatever was going on at the local mosque, we were trying to do it in there. I mean, you couldn't tell us we wasn't card-carrying Muslims. We formed our study group.
Go ahead.
I was transferred.
Go ahead, man.
You know, I didn't do nothing wrong. They just transferred me. So we had to establish the teachings. We would hang that little flag up. Brothers would come in, and we just teaching it every week. And then Muhammad's Mosque number 60 became our official sponsor. And oh my Allah, we got on the same schedule. We met Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, just like they do on the street. And so when I was released, I had been doing that for nearly 20 years. It was a habit. And as you study and we began to see improvement, the thing we were able to do in order to transform the institution, we would go amongst the quote unquote gang members, the ones that are the hardest to deal with. And we would bring them on. And we had established the self-improvement curriculum where we would assess a brother's need. We called it a spiritual triage. And then we set up parameters that they had to meet. Because as Brother Shakir was saying, these young brothers come in, you have guys who are master psychologists. They play on their minds so they can prey on their pockets or much worse. But when we take an interest in our brothers, they know it's hands off. He may not be a Muslim, but if he's associated with the nation, he get the same respect and privileges that a nation brother get. And on any institution you go to, the Nation of Islam's prison reform ministry and the brothers under their leadership are the most disciplined. They're the most respected. The other inmates look to them to help solve and alleviate their problems. Am I lying, Brother Shakir?
Why do you think that's so, though?
It's so, if I may answer, because we walk it like we talk it. It's a lot of guys on the yard that can spit good, that sound good, that, you know, got a good rap. But when you look at the nation, in the morning when we get up, we dress like soldiers. Where we were at, all of us had black Timberlands, and they would be shined. We took the pants and we had them creased. We starched the shirt, we tucked it in, we buttoned our collar up. We moved out in ranks.
That's
You
right.
never saw a nation brother by himself. When we greeted each other, it was yes, sir, brother, no, sir, brother. And then the officers, we did not allow the officers to call us out of our name, use a nickname. They never cursed one of us. They never loud talked one of us. When we had a meeting and they walked in, the rules that we established for the brothers, the officers had to comply with those same rules. You walk in and that standard was up, you ought to take off your hat. You ought to turn down your radio. You need to take off those sunglasses or you would not be allowed to come in there. We were consistent. That was the main reason. We were consistent in what we did and we were sincere. And they knew when we came up, when they came among us, they were among their family.
I got a question. Now when
That's beautiful. Brother.
out here in,
I'm sorry, brother.
when you're out here in the ministry, we deal with different faiths. So inside you have not only you have Nation of Islam, so you have other sets of different Muslims, but then you have the Christians. How was your relationship with other faith-based initiatives inside the prison?
Oh, may I, Brother Shakir?
Of course.
One of our, the 3-point program that we had started, the first point was unity. And then I had a breakdown that, you know, we must be able to work across our organizational and religious differences. So what I did, I copied I copied the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan World Friendship Tour idea, and I started attending the other services. I went to the Jehovah Witness service. I went to the Baptist service, Presbyterian. I went to the Native American service. I hit every one of them.
Yes, sir.
And I introduced myself and I invited them to our service. The relationship was built because I did not focus on our differences. I found out what we had in common.
Right.
I looked and studied, and I heard this from the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan when he talked about universal principles in every religion. And so I identified that principle of their belief, showed where it was similar, and we worked on that. Because in that environment, we had a lot of common issues. And it's the same out here. Given the opportunity, if you're able to sit down with a person and just deal with what you have in common, you have way more in common than you do difference. But the differences allow us to hang on to our piece, and sometimes it make us feel superior to the other person that we're talking to. So we eliminated that, and we just focused on what we had in common. And anything I did, the Honorable Brother Minister Farrakhan said this, and I practiced this: speak for the whole. I was over the Nation of Islam study group, but I spoke for the institution. When there was a situation or injustice, the brothers, they brought it to the nation because they trusted us to be able to go to the administration and to speak straight words and not cut no deals, not sell them out, because they will offer you things. And our track record gave us the ability to be trusted and respected to that degree, where we was able to take an institution that had a lot of differences and bring it together on one common accord.
Yes,
and you
sir.
know, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna put a pin in it, and you know, when you get the unity, that's when they usually ship the Nation of Islam study group coordinator.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother Shakir, we're going to give you a chance to answer that as well. We're going to go ahead and go to our commercial. We have a
Yes, sir.
commercial break. Go ahead, Brother Kawi.
Oh, yes, sir. Again, if you are listening to this program, you must admit this is fascinating. I'm loving it myself.
Yeah.
And if you really getting something out of this, please, I would like for you to share this show while this show is still airing. Please share it, and of course, hit the bell. I just I just want you to keep getting the Jock Brothers alerts each and every week when we air. Again, some people say they don't even get the alerts anymore. It's probably because they subscribed but didn't hit the bell. So please hit the bell. Again, continue to support our prison initiative. As you can see, these brothers were in prison and they made a big impact while they was in prison. But imagine what kind of impact they could have made if they had about 15 to 20 final call newspapers coming to them each and every week from brothers and sisters like you that love them, keeping them up on the latest and greatest information that's coming through the pipeline. So again, let's support that endeavor, the prison initiative. And of course, you can support that by cash apping the donation to our cash app, of course, $ JAKQ BROS, and it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Again, $18 for 3 months subscription of the final call, $30 for 6 months, and $60 for the entire year. As you can see, with brothers like this behind bars, no final call newspaper can mean a whole lot for resurrecting our brothers that's on drugs or just simply lost. Also, Jock Brothers, we are all businessmen. We're all businessmen, and we support our business. I want to start off with Brother Ahmed's business. He's an author now. I mean, he traveled all over the place. You just never know where he's going to be from one day to the next. I'm kind of tempted to ask him where is he at right now. However, this brother's now author, and this is the book that he wrote. Support our brother. This is the first of many that this brother is going to write. I'm currently trying to get this brother to put his book in the libraries in the city in which I live. Support him. As you can see, you can go to www.bipublishing.com. Is there any other way to contact you, Brother Ahmed?
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. So support our brother. And then we got our brother Jackie. Well, okay, let's talk about me. I'm your local realtor. Of late, I've been having a lot of success getting my clients what they need and getting them in, getting through those the closing process with great ease, and they're loving life working with me. So please contact me if you have a desire for some real estate. I really do it all. Residential, commercial, land, and a lot of brothers in Atlanta buying land. So please contact me. My number is not on the screen, but I'm gonna give it to you. 404-671-5681. Give me a call. Take a chance on your brother. You might just like how I do business with you. And last but not least, our brother Jackie Muhammad. This brother stepped out on Faith a couple of years ago and purchased his truck. Now this brother's talking about purchasing another truck. He's in waste management, and he named it Supreme Waste Removal. He got the cans.
Dumpsters.
Go ahead, talk about it, Jackie.
Oh yeah. If you need any dumpsters, if you have any waste or whatever you like to get rid of, and you need dumpsters, and you're in the Atlanta metro area, 20-yarders, 30-yarders, 40-yarders, or if you have your own dumpster and you need it moved, we can service you. We can help you. You can call that number on the screen, and we'll take care of you.
Let me say it. The number is 404-957-7639. Support your own. Support your brother before you support another. That's it. Let's back to the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother Shakir, we want to come back to you if you want to talk about the other group that you worked with or dealt with while you was working in prison. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Ahmed.
No, you're saying faith-based groups in the prison?
Yes, sir. We had a good rapport because of the hard work that we were able to do on behalf of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. They saw integrity, and they saw that our word was bond. You know, let me say this. One of the key things that helped us inside the institution is that we would get the videos of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan in. Now, you have to dissect the video. When I say dissect, because you have to take notes. That was mandatory. And we would compare what we took down. I'm laying a point right here. So we had to eat, drink, debate, argue, whatever you want to call it, what Minister Farrakhan said, so that we can go back and defend the position. So this is how we grew. We had no filter, we had no buffer, we had no intercessor. Straight what Minister Farrakhan said, and we had to hold on to that because we didn't have a lot. You know, you got to take and you roll that boy till it stops spinning. But the thing is, we were allowed and able to work with other communities because they saw the transformation that we were able to help brothers make in their lives. When we began to, it didn't start out like that. I'm gonna be honest with you, because a lot of communities would see that we would, as they say, soften the brother up and get him, tolerable. And then they would try to swoop in and try to talk to him. Well, the nation, they this and that, and they ain't real Muslims, or Elijah Muhammad, he was in the more science crusade. And so they would only do that after we softened the brother up.
Right.
So,
yes, sir.
But so that means that we had to go in and lay the hammer down, and explain to them about doing things like that, But eventually, a lot of
lay
those
the hammer
brothers
down
fall
or
off in this
explain.
one.
That's the explanation. Laying the hammer down was the explanation.
Well, let me say this: the hammer could be laid down based upon your receiving what we were saying. However, you need the hammer laid down, physically or verbally.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna be straight up with you, brother. But after they saw the seriousness that we were doing, not only did other religious groups respect what we were doing, the administration respected to the point where they would bring so-called troubled brothers and turn them over to us.
Right.
They would say, "Look, we don't want to write him up. We don't want to lock him up. Y'all get him."
Right.
And that meant a lot. And so from that point, he was indebted, and he didn't have to join the ranks. He had to change his lifestyle because we would put our name out there that he won't do nothing else. So anyway, but the other communities, the church, the chaplains, man, we had so much of respect that we could do. I want to show you all a picture, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Can you all picture? Can y'all see that?
Yeah, I can see.
If you could send it to us, send it to Ahmed if you can. Or send it to me, and we might can upload it.
Okay. And I wanted to show that picture because we had a relationship with the administration. We've had high-profile figures like Jesse Jackson and Angela Davis. The list can go on and on. We had Minister Jamil Muhammad. We've had everybody you can name that was big to come in because of the work that we were doing. They respected that. So the brothers and sisters in the other belief systems, as Brother Kenneth said, when they saw the power of Master Fard Muhammad, then they couldn't do nothing but get in line. What else are you gonna do? We were able to do things that others weren't able to do, and they would go in. Well, I seen the nation had y'all let the nation have a feast, and it ain't Eid feast. And the people would say, well, they will approve. I don't know how y'all do all that. It's because we live the life that we professed. Minister Farrakhan gave us the proper guidance on how to deal with a troubled mind, and we would utilize it, and we would utilize it with care, man. And again, brothers who had families that they never talked to, man, we were able to help them bridge those gaps. We would go on the visitation yard, and brother would bring their mother, their children up to us and say, this brother here helped change my life, mama. Grandmama, this man here, such and such. And their parents now will and grandparents will get a better understanding of Islam, that they will go out into the to the mosques or study groups in their area. So we were able to do that because we stood on what the minister gave us, brother. So we didn't have no problem with nobody. Everybody respected Minister Farrakhan, so no problem.
What you want to add to that, Brother Kenneth?
I was going to say, it popped in our mind in the training manuals, we would study and practice, because it's one thing to have the theory, but Honorable Minister Farrakhan says that practice refines the theory. Right. And so it says to unite our people into one nation or a brotherhood. And so while we were propagating Islam, we're trying to bring the brothers in, make all men and boys FOI. But what's important on an institutional yard is to have brotherhood. And when you study Islam, and some of my early teachers, and I know Brother Shakur, he'll bear witness, you don't forget those brothers that took time with you. I remember I was telling you about the brother that invited me to the service. The greatest gift, I got, that brother took me by the hand. He's a big brother, about my height, about 6'3", 6'4". And we went around into the laundry room. He cleaned out a little area and he said, brother, I'm about to give you something that's going to change your life. So I'm like, okay, what's up? And he said, I'm going to teach you how to pray. And that brother grabbed my hand and just told me to follow along. And he just started doing the movements, going through the emotions, going to Jalsa, Sajda, Qayyam, all of those things. He said, just do this 5 times a day. You don't have to do anything, learn the words or nothing. He said, just say Allahu Akbar and do this. And brother, my body didn't even move that way. But I've been praying ever since that day. And that was powerful. I learned how to pray in the prison. I learned my 5 pillars of Islam in prison. I learned the articles of faith. I went through all the study guides, the books and everything. I did all of those things because I didn't know what the future was going to hold. I wasn't going to wait until I was released to be no Muslim.
That's right.
I practiced Islam like my life depended on it. Every day in prison, it was real with me. And I know it was real with you too, brother. And when you get up and you put your foot on that ground, we were soldiers. And as the brother told you, it was different because we get a tape. I don't care who's speaking. We fast forward until we get to the part where it says, here he is, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Because we want to hear straight out of his word. And we fed off of that word. That word nurtured us and it strengthened us. And your faith gets so strong. And just thinking back, that brotherhood in there is almost undescribable. The bond. And even now you a brother write you and say, hey brother, I appreciate when you did this. I appreciate when you did this. I get calls like that all the time. I'm quite sure Brother Shakir does it. And any other brother that stood on these teachings. Yes, because you had credibility because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, whether you like him or agree or not, you respecting that man.
That's right.
Yes, right. Yes,
and so he gives you that credibility until you mess it up.
Yes, sir. That's right.
And so and we just had to walk where he put his feet down. And it's just phenomenal what the teachings does and how it transforms an institution. It's it's phenomenal.
I have another question.
Hold on, Brother Kawi. Brother Kenneth, we want to get in because we're running out of time. So we want to get into
running out of time.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, bro. Time is flying, ain't it?
You might want to put the hammer down, Shakur, on this, brother.
We need part 2, brother.
Yeah, there's always time for part 2.
Praise Allah. Praise Allah. I want to talk about the write-up you have in the final call concerning your event that's coming up. Your 4th annual gala commemorating 32 years of service, the Nation of Islam Prison Reform Ministry. You're having a 4th annual Prison Reform Gala in Holly Springs, Mississippi, December the 17th, 2002, 5 p.m. at the Holly Springs Multi-Personal Purpose Center. And you're going to be honoring our National Prison Reform Minister, Minister Abdullah Muhammad, who's also been on the show as well. He graced us on the show as well. So I want you to tell us about that event, brother. It's the 4th annual, and what inspired you to start it, and how is it going? And how can we support?
Yes, sir, Brother Kwawe.
No, that's Brother Jackie.
This Brother Jackie, I'm sorry.
You look alike.
Excuse me. I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, we look alike.
Very, very briefly, Muhammad's Mosque number 60, the mosque that was our sponsor in the TDOC. They are the author of the Prison Reform Gala. The first one I participated, I was in prison. I wrote a letter that they read at it. The second one, I was released, had just got out, and I was an honoree. And since COVID came, we had to put a pause on it. So this is the first year post-pandemic that the Prison Reform Gala is taking place. Muhammad Mosque is the host, but is presenting it, but Holly Springs, Mississippi is the host city. And what I wanted to do was, in a way, give thanks, pay homage to Muhammad's Mosque, and take the point and let them know all those years of coming in and going through all of that wasn't wasted on me and others. And so we bringing it to the great state of Mississippi so that the eyes of the nation will be upon us. And we're honoring a brother that really needs no introduction, but it seems like some people don't know him, but here's a brother whose picture has been in the final call every week for decades.
Right.
Here's a brother that was put on this post by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan student national prison reform minister, Brother Abdullah Muhammad. So we thought it'd be fitting post-pandemic that to get this thing rolling like it needs to be, to bring in, our man, our student national prison reform minister of the Nation of Islam. And what we like to do is highlight prison reform ministry. Again, the prison reform ministry was started by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad himself. Every week in the final call, if you go to the back page of the Muslim program, point number 5 of what the Muslims want is dealing with the prison reform ministry. And so we want to take it off the sideline, bring it out front, and give it the spotlight, share some stories of some individuals who were formerly incarcerated that is making a great impact in society now, highlight some things that's going on in the penal institutions, and try to garner support for this great ministry. And last but certainly not least, we got to give the flowers while a person lives.
That's right.
And here's a brother that's been on this job, a thankless job, a job that don't get notoriety. You can't take cameras in there and record in most penal facilities, so a person don't even know that you're going in. I spoke with Brother Abdullah today, and he just came back on a 4-day, 4 prison tour in 4 different cities.
Wow.
And I mean, that man, he ain't slowing down. And
Yes,
so,
sir.
it's good when you got a man out front like that. And it's even better when we get some help for that man. So what we want to do, brothers, is put it out there. And anyone who's interested in attending, I'm glad to say, but we're sold out. There are no tickets.
But it's room for the Jock Brothers, bro.
And room for Jock Brothers?
Yes, sir.
Oh, brother. Let me see if somebody not going. I have to put you on the list, brother. You know the nation. We don't have no big eyes or little U's, brother. And I know now if you want to come in and maybe not have a seat, you're welcome. But
You stand up in the back. We okay with that?
Maybe they
Okay.
can do a live broadcast. Maybe
right.
y'all can do a live
That's what we
broadcast
talking
coming after
about.
prayer.
Yeah, you talking, brother.
Hey, see, now, if you was talking about working, we always got room for workers.
We come to work, brother. We come to work, brother. We come to work. We soldiers.
Do a live broadcast.
Well, say no more, brother. You all going to be there. You come on down. We're going to make sure we're going to have a wonderful time. This is not some little lightweight event. This is going to be on the level of the Grammys and the Oscars. It's going to be a black tie affair. Got the royal carpet out. We got the sisters going to be preparing the food. I mean, I can't wait. Next weekend can't get here fast enough. Now, if you want to support and donate to the Prison Reform Ministry, we have a Cash App established. It's $NOIPRM. That's all caps. NOIPRM. That's the Cash App. Or you can simply Zelle it to the number that's on the flyer that's posted in the final call. So I'm excited. I know Brother Shakur, he already got his tickets. All he trying to figure out now is what he gonna wear. I heard he's a real sharp dresser, so I'm trying to find something. I can't have him come to my city and show me up down there, Brother Jackie.
Yes, sir. Is that the correct $NOIPRM?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay, yes, sir. That's the Cash App to support the prison ministry. For I guess we'll say Holly Springs, Mississippi, or Nashville, Tennessee, either one, but you'll support. What's your base?
Actually, I'm the assistant of the regional minister in the southern region. I am assisting Brother James, Muhammad out of Birmingham. I'm his assistant. He's the southern regional prison reform minister, and I'm his assistant. So this will be utilized throughout the southern region right now. We also have a national, and it's on our nation's program where you can give nationally, and you all can put that up. But this prison reform ministry Cash App will be utilized throughout the southern region.
Southern region, absolutely. Praise be to Allah. Okay, this is the southern region, which I'm a part of, prison ministry program. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, brother Kenneth. All right.
Let me get one more, man. I'm through. I'm out of here.
Go ahead.
Well, what about me? I got one more too, man.
They already said part 2, man. What y'all gonna do, man? Y'all gonna?
Yeah, but we started late, man.
Man. But hey,
That's right.
Come on, man. Let's do.
Hey, everybody on here is a business owner. That means that you make your own schedule.
Come on, black man.
That's right.
I ain't punching nobody's clock.
Let's roll.
I'm definitely not
That's
punching
right,
the clock,
that's right.
brother. I punch my own clock.
In the
Brother.
spirit.
No. Go ahead. No, go ahead, brother Kawhi. Go ahead.
Okay, well, this is not one of those for both of you, brothers. Look here. So I earlier asked you, what kind of brother were you before you went to prison? What kind of person do you remember you to be? Now, with where you at right now, what will you say to that young brother before he came in prison that could have maybe guided him in the right way? Because we all, me, brother Jackie and Ahmed, we youth mentors. And last thing we want one of our boys, one of our children, man, to go to prison after they touched us. So what would you say to yourself if you could go back in time and say, young brother, this, that, and the other? Take off, brother Ken.
Go ahead, bro, Ken.
Yes, sir. I would say
you rose up, then you ready.
no. I try to stay ready, but I was talking with some young people a couple of days ago,
Praise
and the subject that they wanted me to deal with was accountability. And a lot of times we move out through life, and it's like using a credit card. You swipe it, and you don't pay right away. You swipe it, you don't pay right away. But eventually, the bill becomes due. And what I would say to myself, I was getting away with a lot of little things, and nobody was checking me. I wasn't checking myself. And sometimes you can appear to be one way and not living the life that you're professing. So in actuality, I basically was a fraud. So I would say, man, you got to be real. You got to be real with yourself. Nobody will believe or trust a man that lies to himself. You got to have integrity. You got to have character, meaning who you are when nobody's looking. That's who you got to be. And you got to ask yourself three things. Who am I? Am I who I say I am? And am I all that I'm created to be?
Come on now. Nobody trusts a man who lied to himself.
Okay.
Praise Allah. Go ahead, brother Shakir.
I will add what my brother just stated beautifully. I'll reflect back to my life. Most young men want to have someone they can hang out with. And a lot of times we do more talking than we do actually involving. What I mean by that is actually dealing with that person. Come on with me, man. Come on, hang out with me. You know, and a lot of times I remember when I was real young, you know, my stepfather would finna ride out, and I would want to roll with him, but that invitation was never given. You follow what I'm saying? So I'd say that to say this: a lot of the younger brothers, they want to be around us because they want to be like us, and if we're friends, then some things rub off. You know, he's going to watch my mannerism. He's going to watch how I deal with this person. He's going to watch when we're together just privately. You know, we're not talking about stupidity or, you know, foolishness. And he's going to take those characteristics because he's around me seeing it in action. So I wouldn't say nothing. I'd take him under my wing and we roll like that. You know, I'm coming to pick you up, such and such. We're going to hang out, you know, be ready so that he can get a feel of who I am as a person, you know, and give him an example of what it is to be a man. Not just tell him, bro, you can't do this, you can't do that, because, man, people told me a lot of stuff and I went 100% the other way. But when I saw something that I wanted to be like, I started to want to be around it. You follow me? So if we're able to mentor others, that means, and they're listening, that means they like something about us. They like our swag. They want to be around us. So take that, keep them around. It's like your son. You know, you want your son to be the best, and you try to force things in him. But the person that want to be like that, you would make, you push him to the side sometimes. Take him with you, man.
Take him with you.
Take him with you. Now that means that you have to know some of their interests. Now, if you're out of shape, you can't shoot ball, you can't work out, you know, you can't do stuff like that. Get yourself together, man.
That's right, bro.
You know, I prided myself because I like to shoot ball too, bro, Kenny. So I used to pride myself, man. I'm not gonna let one of these youngsters beat me in no ball, man. So
Can't win. They let them win now.
And the way
Can't let them win.
The way I used to get brothers, because I used to box and I trained brothers. And so when I'll be around, jabbing around, and I see one looking, come here, man, let me show you how to do this. And at that point, once he starts learning, he want to keep doing it. So then I answer to, okay, now, you know, you can't be around here doing this and that. Now, if you want to learn how to do this, you can't be around here with this stupidity. And you got to have some type of education. You got to have some type of spiritual connection if you're going to hang out with me. Oh, old school, I do whatever, man. I don't make no difference. Then I bring him on to the service. But I use whatever attractive to him. So if he was attracted to me shooting ball, boxing, or, you know, whatever, and that's on the outside too, you know. I'm gonna say this now, be quiet. This is why we dress to impress, because when our people see that, man, I like that. If I see you looking and something you like, I'm pulling in. See, that's all I need to see. Attraction. That's it. And that's what the messenger taught us. Opposite attract, like repel. So when they see something that they like, that's your route, your avenue. So to be a mentor, take them on your wing for real, man. Do stuff with it. That would be my advice.
Very, very, both of y'all, very good advice. Very, very good advice. All right, brother Ahmed, go ahead, brother.
Now, I really have a strong appreciation for the level of study that the brothers are able to have while incarcerated. I mean, it's beyond means. If I could stop time and get rid of all my bills I got 3 hots in the cot. I got all my books. I got all the time to study. The level of study and discipline that you're able to have while you're incarcerated is beyond measures. So when we are teaching the young brothers today, we kind of give them a vision board. I know the brother said earlier, so some of the brothers come in with time and we're teaching them how to do their time. But what part of that is taught what they're going to do when they get out? I've dealt with a lot of brothers that come home from the prison system. They have a lot of knowledge, book knowledge, but they're lost when they come home getting their mathematical theology in place and finding a direction so they're able, and then they're looking at the brothers and the sisters that's out here and they're saying, wow, we studied harder than y'all. We fasted harder than y'all. Not everybody, but you know, from a standpoint, this is some of the brothers that I've dealt with. So what part of this training do they get to prepare them to come out and hit the world hard, but also view the world and the Muslims outside and not look at them like, hey, you guys are a little slack?
If I may, Brother Shakur,
Of course.
when I, under the tutelage of the great Abdul Majid Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, he was the minister of Muhammad's Mosque, number 60. He was the preeminent prison reform minister. But he raised up a team of young brothers at that mosque and sisters. That prison reform ministry was sort of like their number one project. I'll speed it up for the sake of time and maybe when we come back again. But Muhammad's Mosque 60, when we talk about reconnecting the soul to its creator, comma, pause, then providing for those human needs. So we were already discussing on the inside how to take our mathematical theology and gain some benefit from it. Because just talking the teachings, that's rhetoric. But what we lack is the practical application. So we was trying to tie economics and business. So we had a Muslim brother. His name was Omar Baruti. And he's going to be at the prison reform gala. And he was a businessman. He would come in and teach business classes. I learned how to establish a corporation in prison, LLCs, nonprofits. He brought in things, this big catalog. It was a land bank where they had properties in Memphis that's not being used that you can purchase. And then he showed us how to purchase houses and then get grants in order to refurbish the houses and then use those to sell them and things. He brought that inside of a prison. We would bring in those type of things. In our program, we had attached to it that it was mandated you take a minimum of 2 vocationals, preferably something like residential construction or go to the barber school, because you can work independently. Right. Without having to check that box, have you ever been convicted of a felony? So when the brother came home, I'm speaking from my vantage point. It was my captain, Andre Muhammad, that picked me up from the yard. I walked out, he picked me up, he took me home. He's from Nashville. He drove me to Memphis. We sat and we ate. He said, "You ready?" I said, "Am I ready? I've been waiting my whole life for this." I went to the room, I recited, and then I ran, get that nation program up and running. That was within the first couple of hours of my release. You see, so he had employment. There's a brother, I'm going to try to send you the clip that we do. And he tells how Muhammad's Mosque 60 paid his rent, picked him up, brought him, clothed him, took him to St. Louis to see his family. I mean, they were there to nurture him but trust him until he was able to stand on his own. And we got to do that in the mosque. This train runs on 2 tracks.
Yes, sir.
We can come out and criticize brothers and sisters and say, well, they didn't study like us, or they didn't do this. And they can say, well, when y'all come out, y'all don't stick, y'all don't know how to do this. But it got to be a cooperative effort.
Yes, sir.
And once we're connected like that, and when the brother comes out, don't shun him and try to reprocess him. That man been holding it down 17 years.
Right.
Get him active.
Right.
You know, I mean, that back door, yeah, that's a post. But that ain't the only post.
Right.
That brother been taught and trained. That brother is an organizer. He knows how to resolve conflict. He knows how to speak truth to whomever, wherever, whatever. He has skills that is needed and necessary at the mosque.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll say this, I'm going to put a pin in it, I promise.
Go ahead, Brother Minister.
We talk about Brother Malcolm, and he should be talked about. And we use him as an example of what the teachings can do to an individual. Brother Malcolm got out of prison, I think, 1952.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't produce a whole lot of Malcolms. The difference was this, that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad gave Brother Malcolm a platform so the world could see the beauty of the teaching and the transformative power. If Brother Shakur and other brothers that come out was able to get that same platform, then Malcolm will be one of thousands they would have to mention. And so we have to, as a nation, evolve and develop a tighter relationship. And it's in the national agenda and also the Torchlight of America. This is what I use to establish the ministry, where the Honorable Minister Farrakhan talked about writing and connecting and keeping a community connection. Those are the things we do. I have a lot more on that, Brother Ahmad, and inshallah, we can talk about it some more. But I think once the mosque take an interest in the brother and the brother feels secure, he's going to reward that particular mosque with everything he has.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Brother Shakur?
I couldn't have said it no better.
Right.
I'm
sorry, brother.
Okay, yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay, praise be to Allah.
I mean,
all right, brotherhood.
Hey,
So,
just briefly, let me just say this one thing briefly.
Go ahead.
I agree with that, what Brother Kenneth just said. A lot of times you have to court the brother while he's there. I had a great team of brothers. My mother came into the Nation of Islam. All praises due to Allah, as a result. And I had brothers, Mr. John Muhammad, Brother Reggie, Brother Richard, Minister James, and a host of other brothers from around the country. What I would do is, now I'm out now, but I had a phone, right, in prison. But I just didn't use the phone to connect with my family. I started a teleconference call where I would brothers like yourself from society and have a voice from society to the brothers who are incarcerated. And I had a program called The Cage Thought, and we've had the pioneers, we had a lot, and that was able to help brothers understand what they were going to be confronting when they came home. But I had a great support staff. I was in the Nation of Islam in prison. I mean, I didn't come home and say, well, it's something different. I'm a soldier, man. I'm a Muslim. So, but the brothers and sisters sometimes out here don't understand where we've come from.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like the brother said, if you don't sit down and become a friend of a person, then it's kind of hard for you to work, because they may be skeptical. Is he gonna come out and go crazy and blow the Mars door? I don't know what he got going on in his head.
Right.
So you have to deal with people so that you can see. We have sat in these prisons 25, 30 years, man. Do you think we just was sitting there doing nothing?
Come on,
We're
man.
ready to explode. We don't need you to tell us. Hey brother, go and get yourself together. I'm together. Let's get out. I'm ready. When you say that, you didn't just say it. Get the hell on, man.
Right.
I agree with my brother, man. You have to put a man that has been sitting in that prison and you spent time dealing with him, put him to work immediately.
That's
and
right.
You help him whenever if you don't have finances, help him. If you don't have clothing, help him. If you don't have whatever, help him, because the reward is going to pay out greatly. Trust and believe.
Praise be to Allah, man. Both, man, excellent. We definitely gonna have to have a part 2. It's still a lot of unanswered questions. I really want to know about the sisters. You know,
that's just what I was going to say.
How are we organizing the sisters in the prison, and you know what? How does that process? Then we got the juvenile program. We got the juvenile centers. So we definitely need to talk more. We're gonna definitely keep an eye on this gala. You know, you can come back and give us a recap. You know, some things that we can talk about. So. We have our final words. Definitely, Brother Shakur, this is going pretty fast, but we have our final words. I'd like to start with you, Brother Minister Shakur, if you would. Shakir, if you would, give us your final words, sir.
If you accept the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, if you accept it, if you believe in it, stand on it till you die, man. Don't worry about nothing else. Stand on that program. Because me and Brother Kenneth, as well as our Brother Kawi, Brother Ahmed, Brother Jackie, we are witness bearers that this program and teaching can change your life. There's nothing more than what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was given by God himself. I'm telling you, when you see black men standing firm and speaking strong and living a positive life after being a nigga, a slave, a coon, a dog, ain't nothing better, man. Stand firm on it, regardless who come or go. Stand on the program that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, brother. Thank you, Brother Shakir. All right, Brother Kenneth,
yes,
final words, sir.
Well, brother, I said so much. I got on late, so excuse my passion. I was trying to get it all out. But I'll say this, that oftentimes we talk about what something isn't, instead of focusing on what it is. There's nothing in creation right now that's perfect. Everything is moving toward perfection. Individuals, institutions, nations, understand that and learn how to honor, love, cherish, and appreciate what it is that you do have. We have a beautiful nation. We have beautiful brothers and sisters, the believing community. I don't care what we say compared to what was out there and what we were yesterday. We ahead of the game. And I'm going to say this, and I'm learning this every day. But if you want to be successful, brothers, this is to the brothers, man, then you have to understand and allow Allah to give you what it is you're supposed to have. And that's that MGT right by your side.
Come on now.
If you want to have the success, then man, you got to allow Allah to bless you with that which you're supposed to have. And that's a righteous woman, a righteous MGT, brother. Out of all the things that have happened to me, the greatest gift I've been given is a wife. And my life has just gone through the universe ever since I made that decision. And so, brothers, once you do that, trust me, I guarantee you, everything else gonna fall in place. I'm not saying you won't struggle, but you will be on your way.
Come on now. Well, God must have sent that message. Well, that message right there is permeating very deep, brother. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. This group right here, very deep, brother. Thank you. All right, Brother Kawi, your final words, sir. You're muted, Brother Kawi.
All right, thank you, Brother Jackie.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I like the fact that Brother Jackie wanted to do this show, and to get you two on here was good for me to see, because I once were a part of that prison ministry, and I was able to witness a lot of brothers come out from jail that was strong, like brick strong, concrete strong, and incarcerated, but come out in the streets and you don't see them no more. And y'all, to me, represent that brother that can be concrete strong in prison, and then come out of prison and still be concrete strong. Because like Ahmed was alluding to, is that when in prison, you can study all day long. You don't have the stresses of worrying about a family, or worry about jobs. You got a lot of free time, but you don't have that time when you're released. Now you have everybody coming to you saying, "Hey, how you doing, homeboy?" and throwing your money, let's go out. And then you have the freedoms that you didn't have before. But in your cases, man, you took what you got in prison, and now look at you. I mean, if I lined you up with brothers that never went to jail, and I say get a perfect string, say pick out the brothers that was incarcerated, and y'all standing right next to them, they couldn't tell the difference. They couldn't tell who was in jail and who wasn't, because that's how thoroughly y'all been cleaned up by the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, with the example of Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I salute you brothers for being solid like you are. And last, hey, I'm gonna start making this announcement every show. I want anybody that's not a part of this Nation of Islam that's watching the Jock Brothers to visit your local mosque. Come and get this teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which can change your life forever. So, regardless of what city you in, there's a mosque near you. Do what you got to do, and go visit your local mosque. That's what I got to say. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Kawi. All right, Brother Ahmed.
Well, there's so much to be said about this prison initiative and prison reform. Is like Brother said earlier, when we witnessed Malcolm and his transformation. My family, I was raised in the Nation, so I have older brothers who went to prison and in the 70s and the 60s, and they were part of that transformation and reform. They went in after accepting the teachings, but they were able to go in and they helped a lot of brothers get into the Nation. I mean, I'm talking about before there was books, they would have to write the lessons down. And the brothers had to write the lessons down. So many brothers come home and, oh man, your brother helped me in prison, and they all have testimonies. So I always have a love for them, because when they come out, they are so educated on so many levels, and then just learning how to marry that with getting into the system in this world and of finances and economics. And, just that challenge of what the brother said earlier about checking that box. Have you ever been incarcerated? Now you have to find a way to finance yourself without having to go get a job. And there's so many ways to do it, like the brother said, but we all have to come together to help each other out. And even today, man, there's so, the internet has given us so many options and ways for us to earn money and open up business and build finances. I'm really looking forward to a part 2. I don't think we cracked this enough right here, but it's a good start. And preferably in part 2, we can build some kind of platform where we can continuously deal with this and give the brothers who come home and can't find their way some way to call in, a number to call in.
That's right.
Outreach. Give us a call, brother. We can help you. Give us a call. We can direct you to some. I don't care what city you in, what state you in. If that mosque or that church or wherever you've gone is not supporting you the way you feel, you need to be supported. We need to have somewhere where they could call in. All right, let's get to work. Like the brother said, these brothers are powerful in minds, and they've built themselves up to come home and do a work. And it would be bad when they can't find a way or they go back to their old ways. So I'm really looking forward to a part 2. I'm really looking forward to meeting you brothers personally when we come to this event. And inshallah, we have a sister to come on from the sister side of the prison ministry and see what the sisters are in coming to Islam. You know, we still want to find Brother Kawi a wife. So, we want to see.
That's right. That's right.
You know.
Get one out of prison.
Right.
Hey, man. Yeah.
What?
Brothers and sisters coming out of prison.
But you got to be able to do this, man.
That's right,
Yeah.
Kawi.
You better do it, brother. We want for our brother, but we want for ourselves. We want to have- You got a problem with that?
Yeah, join the club, bro.
Join the club, Kawi. Join
Join
the
the
club.
club.
Let me see yours out, man. Let me see yours.
Thank you all for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Inshallah, though, we definitely look for part 2, brothers. Thank you for taking your time out to join us in this.
Thank
This
you.
is something that's
for having
heartfelt,
me.
and I want this to continue so much. Thank you all, brothers.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Ahmed. Well, look here, Jock Nation. This was a beautiful showing. It shows us what real, true reform looks like. And it also shows us how much work we have to do. We definitely want to bring you back because there was a question that wanted to know, how do we support our family who has done time? You know, what are some ways to support them, to show support? And we definitely need to get into all the particulars, man, because man, in different families, when someone goes to prison, it's like you want to stand off. Some families become standoffish. Some families look at it as if it's a shame or something like that. And we definitely want to kill all of those narratives, and we want to make it what it is. So thank you, brothers, for opening yourself up. Thank you for opening up your life to the world. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you now for your labor. Thank you for your desire to change and help others, to be an example of, it can be done. And that's what everybody need, man. It's going to be hard, but it's doable because look right here, these brothers, right. And we definitely want to keep the examples out front, and we look forward to having you all back. We look forward to more testimony. And if you have anybody that you would like to present, let us know. And these are things that we can go forward, and we can help our brothers and sisters and the youth, who are experiencing it. So, Jock Nation, we thank you for listening. We thank you for spending time with us. But like we always say, when it's a great show, another one. Amen.